In recent weeks, we've seen a number of individuals who once obtained residency in Montenegro and by opening up a business, closing down their business in Montenegro and moving shop over into Serbia. And today, we're going to go over the reason why people are choosing to close down this business in Montenegro and bring their business into Serbia because of the new rules that the Montenegrin government has imposed on foreign businesses only, and how this might affect your decision if you're deciding to move to Montenegro and Serbia, and why you might consider Serbia before going to Montenegro. All right, now this new rule, I'm not sure if it has anything to do with Montenegro actually going into the EU in the near future, or if they've seen an influx of foreigners setting up businesses there, obtaining residency, and they're sick and tired of it. So I'm not sure, but we recently worked with a client who was like, I'm actually completely appalled by these new rules. As a startup, we cannot keep up with these rules, and Serbia has a much easier process in order to set up a business and obtain residency, which is something that we do here quite regularly for many businesses, and not only for people that are looking to start up a business, but also for those individuals who are already have a foreign business and want to set up a branch here in Serbia. And so this new rule that was drafted in 2025 here, I believe it was in November that this has been imposed. It's not actually law, but they are actually abiding by this as if it's actual law. So the amendments that they've made was that employment requirements for foreign business owners. So the first rule that they're coming into here is that if you own more than 51% of shares in your business, that you have to one, have a actual active real business and not just on paper. And that's something that we here at Relocation Serbia, of course, let our clients know that you can set up a startup here to obtain residency. However, make sure that this is a real business, because when you come up for renewal on your residency, the police or the immigration have the right to ask for invoices to show that you're a legitimate business, that you're actually paying bills, paying your taxes, invoicing for services, and not just a documented business as essentially a front for your residency. The one rule that Montenegro has imposed is that if you do own more than 51% of shares in your business, that you have to have at least 3 full-time employees in your business, and at least one of those employees must be a Montenegrin citizen. So you can see how that on its own can be very difficult, especially if you are a startup and don't have an existing business that you're switching over into Montenegro. Now, Serbia does not require that you hire anybody for your startup. And so it's much easier to set up your startup here in business here in Serbia. The other thing that the companies must do is pay their taxes, social contributions, which again is something that you need to do here in Serbia. And this is something that immigration does look at when it does come time to renew your residency here. And typically a lot of our clients ask, hey, listen, am I going to get 1 or 3 years of residency here based on business setup? And the going trend that we're seeing is if you're setting up a business here, it's a 1-year residency. However, if you're looking to purchase property, more than likely you are going to get 3 years. We just finished a client from Sweden that came here, purchased an apartment, and he got 3 years. A few months back, we did another couple clients that came in here from Holland. Married couple, they purchased a house and they got 3 years right off the bat. So 3 years typically if you're purchasing property, 1 year if you are opening up a business. And this doesn't matter if it's an entrepreneur business or a corporation. Now, you may ask, why were these rules implemented in Montenegro? And this is something that, I don't see really a way of preventing a fictitious company registration. You could always mediate that by looking at their residency after 1 year and asking for invoices, asking for proof of all your businesses, but that's business actions. But this is one of the reasons that they implemented this. They wanted to also ensure that foreign investment benefits the local labor market, which I can understand from the Montenegrins' side. However, again, if you're just a startup and starting from zero, you do not have the capital to pay for wages, pay for your employees' social contributions. If you're a startup, you need to start up essentially and make sure that you yourself as the owner are able to get your business off the ground before you hire employees. And I feel that's where Serbia still leads the way when it comes to setting up startups here. You can either go by entrepreneur business, flat rate tax, which we are starting to transfer more clients into LLCs instead, what we call DOOs here, because one of the things that we're seeing that the officials here at the business registry are starting to do is tighten more on work permits when it comes to your entrepreneur business. So as an entrepreneur business, you need to show here in Serbia proof of knowledge or proof that you can work in that business that you're setting up, where if you are setting up a LLC, you do not need any of that type of stuff. So it's a lot easier for you to obtain residency. There's a little bit less paperwork. Yes, there's bookkeeping involved and some other things, but it eventually equals out to the same amount if you're doing flat rate tax or a corporation with bookkeeping. And of course, the other thing that they're saying, and which kind of confirms my suspicion, is that it brings Montenegro's laws closer in line with EU standards. And I've mentioned this before, many of our clients that are coming here and working with us love the fact that Serbia is not part of the EU, and I think that this is going to actually hinder Montenegro and foreign investment because they are going to be entering the EU. I believe it's next year that they're doing that, and the following year it's going to be Albania that's going to be entering the EU as well. Serbia is still not expected to enter the EU in the near future, which I think is a good thing, depending on who you ask. I think it's a wonderful thing because you do not have to align with all of the EU politics, all the EU guidelines, rules, and regulations, and the complexity that the EU actually brings into your country when you do join. So I think Serbia is going to be at the forefront of a lot of foreign investors coming here to not one, invest in the country, but also set up their businesses as well. So if you are looking to leave your current country and looking to find a country that you can have a startup and not deal with a lot of political pressure, a lot of bureaucracy, not to say that Serbia doesn't have bureaucracy, that's why we're here, is to make sure that you don't have to deal with that bureaucracy, to streamline the processes. I think Serbia would be a great ideal location for you. Montenegro is great. It's got a great coastline, so on and so forth. But again, with it starting to align more and more with EU, it's going to bring a lot more problems. Serbia also has entered into SEPA, which is going to help with banking and international money transfers here as well. Doesn't mean that we're a part of EU. It just makes people that are looking to set up businesses here transfer money, especially if you're working globally, which many of our clients that set up businesses do. They set up here, they work globally, and need to bring money into Serbia to pay their taxes, to pay their contributions for their employees, and so on and so forth. So if you're looking to get away from some of the EU stuff and you're thinking about Montenegro, you may want to reconsider and look at Serbia. If that's something that is of interest to you, feel free to book in a consultation with me and my team, and we'd be happy to help.